All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making the plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. Great eye in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics never the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace up the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new show, a brand new thing, a brand new everything about college sports. This is Jock Talk. No class, no books, just sports, baby. Man. I'm with my man, Jay. Man, what's going on, Jay? What were you ready to talk about?
Man, I'm just happy we're here today. First episode, monumental. You know, it's great to open up with my boy Trey as well. It's going to be some great episodes. It's going to be a bunch of great talking, debating, digging into just college sports. I mean, you know, what we do best, right?
It is. And we're not just talking college football. Tonight will basically be college football, but we're going to be talking college basketball. We're going to be talking baseball. We might even throw a little college rugby in there. We're going to talk hockey. We got college covered no matter all the hot topics going on around the collegiate level. So we're excited to bring it to you. We're excited to talk about it. Because basically most people love watching college sports because of their alma maters or just because they're from that town, and it's just a community coming together, and that's something that everyone enjoys. So we're happy to bring it to you. But before we get into the show, we need to bring up some of our we need to pay some bills, our sponsors.
What we got here? We got the shirts.
Okay. So how would anyone like to get any of these shirts, man? All you got to do is comment, like, or share our page. Once you do that, you can be entered to be a viewer of the month. It's a brand new month. Today's the first day of the month. So go ahead and start clicking and sharing and commenting on our page, and you'll be viewer of the month, and you get one of these awesome t-shirts. Now, if you don't want to comment, you're kind of too shy, you don't want to comment, you don't want to have your name out there, you can also contact any of the analysts on this network at ASAP All Sports All Play Network, and we can get your info. We can you can buy it for $25. That is with shipping and handling. So that is not a bad deal. I'm ready to order mine. So yeah, I can't wait.
I mean, either way, it shows us support, you guys, whether you like, whether you comment, whether you purchase one. Either way, we appreciate it. And another thing, a lot of people, you know, they're watching at home and maybe they have interest in starting their own podcast. So one of our other sponsors is Anchor. It's a wonderful way to start it up. It distributes your podcast across different distributors, you know, Apple, Spotify, a lot of different things. So it's a nice way to get it out there quick. So they teach you how to do it. Got you a lot of different tools for you to edit your sound and your videos or whatever it is you're doing. So check out Anchor if you haven't done one. And you know. But now to the show. I mean, since it's our first episode and we're talking about college sports, what's your college football team?
What's my favorite college football team?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm from the greater San Antonio area. Okay. So it has to be Austin. It has to be UT. Okay. But am I a diehard fan? I root for them. But honestly, I just like I root against coaches. Like Nick Saban. Whoever he's coaching for, I'm rooting against. I can't stand Nick Saban. He's a great head coach. He's a great ambassador to the league or whatever. I just can't stand. He's just always winning. I guess that's why I don't like him. But Honestly, I like Clemson. I love Dabo Sweeney. I love what he's brought to Clemson. He's actually giving Alabama a run for their money for recruitment and stuff. I love what he preaches to the kids. I love his message as a whole. I love me some Dabo Sweeney. But yeah, UT first all the way, baby. UT Longhorns.
Okay. So the Longhorn. Okay. And then what about basketball? Thing or?
Oh man, no man. I'm a Dookie. I'm a Coach K Dookie, baby.
Oh, okay.
And the reason that is, and honestly, I really didn't get into college basketball until about 90. Whenever in 2003, 2004, with Jay Williams, Shane Battier, all those that dynamic duo, quadruples, that team. Ever since I watched the Maryland, when Maryland was up 10 points with 55 seconds left, and the way Jay Williams and everyone brought Shane Battier, just the cohesiveness and with the way they won that game just brought tears to my eyes. And of course, my brother's a North Carolina fan, so I had to go against my brother. So,
I mean, first,
thank you, Will. I forgot about that. Shirts are $14.99 in shipping and handling now. I do apologize. Sorry, guys.
But definitely, I mean, me as far as college basketball is concerned, I grew up in the time where it was the Wildcats. I grew up, born in Los Angeles. I pretty much grew up. So the Wildcat, U of A was killing it, and Lou Olson was just, Lou. So you had Coach K over there. So that was my team always. U of A.
I did like the Arizona with Simon. Simon Says that guy was a stud in his heyday, man. I actually like watching. I lived in Roswell, New Mexico, so we got a lot of Arizona games as well. So that was a fun team to watch back in the 90s.
There were so many squads, man. There were so many. Sean Elliott coming out of there. You had South Florida, everything over there, huh? Okay.
Yeah. All right.
U of A was killing it, man. And so I was a U of A basketball fan, but I just always liked ASU. I was always, football was my sport. I just watching, enjoying it as far as that's concerned. So I was always ASU. Football is ASU hands down. I had a couple of people I went to high school with even go there, and that was fun watching them and seeing them go through their ups and downs in the college football league. But that's my thing, ASU for football and UA for basketball. But my love for ASU is starting to take over, man. James Harden was nice. Nice team now. This squad now is dangerous. We'll see what happens this year.
Yeah. College basketball is starting up already. We had the Jimmy V Classic, I think it was tonight. Duke, Michigan State, and then followed by Kentucky and Kansas. Madison says she grew up a FSU fan, but I'll go USF now, and they both suck this year. It's usually you have a point. Florida State back in the day, man, before Jameis Winston, I remember those Florida Gator games and those Florida State, Miami Florida State games always came down to a field goal. Man, those were good games back then. But now Florida State, I don't know what's going on ever since they got rid of Jimbo Fisher. Bobby Bowden was a bad man. Yeah. So, but yeah, those are that. I remember those days. But yeah,
both Florida and not to interrupt you, but when them bringing up both Florida and you liking Clemson, we can kind of jump right into college football a little bit.
Yeah,
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's man. The top 25 college football committee revealed their top 25. Not much big changes. I know there's a little uproar over a couple teams where they're stacked and where they're ranked, and I know a couple people are mad about one Cougar school, BYU, being outside the top 10. But the top 4 teams will stay the same. You have Alabama number 1, which they have looked like the best team of all college football. They're the best cohesive. I thought they were going to take a step back without Tua or Jalen Hurts at the helm this year. But, man, Mac Jones is doing his thing this year. He probably should be a front runner for the Heisman Trophy, if you ask me. He has over 2,700 yards, 27 TDs, and only 3 interceptions. But man, when you have those weapons that Alabama has year after year, you have Harris, you have Waddle, you have Najee Harris as your running back. Man, they just keep rebuilding. And I thought their defense was going to be horrible this year, watching after what Ole Miss did to them in the beginning of the year. But after that Ole Miss game, something just clicked, and now they're not letting anyone score on them. So Alabama looks like the number one team, but a team that surprised me this year is actually Notre Dame. And kudos to Notre Dame and the ACC for letting them be in their conference this year with everything going on. Playing that ACC schedule, yes, they beat Clemson, but people got to remember that Clemson was out 5 defensive players, all-American defensive players. They were out their middle linebacker. Trevor Lawrence, the first-round overall pick, did not play because of COVID rules. So, and yet they still won that game in Notre Dame by 6 points in double overtime. So hold the brakes on Notre Dame a little bit. I still think that Clemson's the better team in that conference by every stretch of the imagination. But they're winning the games that's put in front of them, and that's all you can add. And they're actually looking convincing. They beat a great North Carolina team Friday night. It was a close game going in, but they just showed their power and their wit, and they prevailed by double digits in that game. Then you have Clemson at number 3, which is probably right because Notre Dame did beat them. Clemson plays Virginia Tech next to last game. Oh, yes, that's right. The ACC modified their schedule today. I don't know if you saw that today or not, but they so basically what they're doing is their championship game is going to be a week after the regular season. So they're only going to play 9 conference games this year. And I think kudos to that, especially with COVID going on. They want to have the best 2 teams out there competing at the highest level without COVID rules. So this way gives them 2 weeks in case anyone does get COVID, and they have a plan implemented as well. But with that being said, Notre Dame being a 1-year participant in the ACC, they're already clinched a spot in the ACC championship game in Charlotte. Now, Clemson, all they got to do is beat Virginia Tech, and they're in. Now, they lose to Virginia Tech. Miami has a chance to get still that spot and go play Notre Dame as well. But I think going back to the rankings, I think Clemson's right where they need to be at number 3. I think that's going to change in the final game of the season, in the championship game. I think Clemson's going to go ahead and take that number 2 spot. But yeah, and then Ohio State, I want to get to this. I want to know Jay's thoughts on this. Ohio State has only played like 4 games this year.
Correct.
Should they even be considered in the top 4 with only playing 4 games?
I mean, here's the thing. When we're looking at the schedule right now, Clemson's 1 game loss. Notre Dame has to play Clemson again from the way it looks. Notre Dame's going to have 1 loss. So who's going to fall out of that to me? So the bigger picture is Ohio State's right where they need to be, because I think they're going to end up in the top 4, whether the ranking is right now or not. Now, my other thing is you got Texas A&M and Florida at 5 and 6. That's where I think Ohio State, and I'm kind of like looking at them like, okay, Florida, I think is the one that got shafted out of all 6 of these rankings. I think Florida should be. I mean, but it's hard because they lost to Texas A&M,
Mm-hmm.
and Texas A&M only losses to Alabama.
Pretty convincing loss too.
Yeah.
But I will say this, going to your point, Florida, they control their own destiny, I would say. I think if they go out and win and they go ahead and beat Alabama in the SEC championship game, and I think, man, just depends on Ohio State if they get enough games in, because if Ohio State misses 1 more game, they can't even be eligible for the Big Ten championship game, which is a stupid rule in itself. But we'll get to that a little bit later, hopefully. But
because look at our conversation. Let's say that Ohio State plays 6 games. They're already at 9. Florida.
Exactly.
Florida's beaten Georgia. They've already played Texas A&M. Texas A&M they lost to Texas A&M, but who else did they beat big?
They beat Georgia. They beat LSU. They beat
LSU. And
South Carolina. They beat Missouri.
And they beat them in great fashion. That's going back to your Alabama QB quarterback for Alabama being in the Heisman. I don't know, man. I think if Florida goes to the playoffs, he's right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was actually getting into that. I think that both these teams make it to the SEC championship game, which is undoubtedly going to happen. I think the winner of that game is going to be the Heisman Trophy winner. I really do. The Trask or Jones. Brendan Herrera asked, can Ohio State fall out of the top 4 due to not playing enough games? Absolutely they can, because they've only played 3 games or 3 or 4 games. And the other teams like BYU, they're not in the conference and they've already played 9. Granted you, they've not played anybody in those stretches, but they're playing games. They're trying to find games. And the eye test is telling you that Ohio State, yes, their offense is great and everything, but their defense needs some work. Indiana probably should have beaten Ohio State in Ohio State. So if you're just looking at eye test, and that's what everyone's going to be talking about this year, is the eye test, because you're not going to have the same number of games. Ohio State, yeah, they're probably all the top 4 team in the nation, especially with Justin Fields, and everyone wants Ohio State in just because of the fan base and the namesake and the star power in Justin Fields and all that. But honestly, if you ask me, and I'm an Ohio State guy, I love Ohio State. Right now, I would have them at number 4 right now, just because it's still early in the seedings or whatever. But when a push comes to shove, if Ohio State misses another game and they're not eligible for the Big Ten, then yeah, they need to seriously take a little look at and put like a Cincinnati or a Texas A&M or a Florida State in, because that it's not right.
And put them in where? Put them in
the top 4. Yeah, I would put Texas A&M over Ohio State right now in the top 4, just the way I've seen.
Honestly, I think if they don't hit games, I don't know if they still stick in the top 10. There's some teams that are really clawing, and if they get a couple more games in, they have enough. It's wrong.
Yeah, I mean, but Cincinnati's 8-0, and that's a dang good football team right there. Their only problem is they're not playing in one of these big Power 5 conferences. That's the main issue we have right now with them. But what Cincinnati, they can still get in with a little bit of help. I mean, a lot of things has got to happen, of course. Ohio State probably not being eligible, or you need Clemson to beat the crap out of Notre Dame, and that's the only way Notre Dame's not getting in the conference. If the Clemson just goes ahead and annihilates them in the conference championship game, that's the only way I can see it happening. But
even if Clemson whoops them, I still think they finish ahead of time. What's Florida's next? What's Florida's schedule?
Florida, they just have 2 games left. They have 2 games left. They're at Tennessee and then at LSU. Those are easy wins. I'm sorry. Tennessee's a turnover machine.
Yeah, they're gonna roll over both of them. But I'm just saying, like, there's no way that Florida doesn't finish in the top 4 if you ask me, if Ohio State doesn't play at least 6 games.
You're right. Florida controls their own destiny right now. Even though the Texas A&M, if they both finish with just 1 loss, and that one loss is the Texas A&M, Florida, they go to the SEC championship game. They beat a number 1 ranked team, Alabama. Everyone in the world's putting them in, because they're going to look at that loss and like, oh, y'all went to Texas A&M in a COVID kind of year and you played them kind of tough. But Florida controls its own destiny by every stretch of the imagination. If they win out, they're in the top 4. I don't care. Just because of the way it looks and the way that Ohio State's not going to play enough games in the eye test. And honestly, I love Ohio State, but I just don't think that they're a top 4 team right now. They haven't played in 2 or 3 weeks, but Brandon Herrera says, can the NCAA champ take the place of the NFC East winner in the playoff? I'll tell you what, man, Alabama could easily be one of these NFC East teams. Man, NFC East is horrible this year, but that's a topic for another day. This is all college, man. But yeah, Alabama and Clemson, I think for sure can easily compete, at least get 3 wins out of that division, well, especially one against the Cowboys for sure. But but going back to Florida, they control their own destiny. They
well, before we skip it, on Will's comment, if you want to bring that back up, Yeah, that's the same thing as kind of like what Trey was saying. Cincy, they're not getting no love. Period. Uh, the conference. If they were in a bigger conference, I think that Cincy would be in the top six. And then we wouldn't have this conversation about Ohio State. We would just have people complaining about Ohio State. And then, yeah, Ritter would be a little bit further up there as well. We've already been speaking about him.
But the problem with that is Cincinnati, if they were in a tougher, they were like, say, the Big Ten or the Big 12 even, would they still be undefeated, though? I mean, it's hard to compare that. You just don't know. I mean, I would like to see it. They are a dang good football team. I think that they easily could be in the top 4. But, I mean, if you just look at their schedule, they played Appalachian State. The big win against Army, that was a huge win against Army. They beat the Wills Bulldog, the Bulls, USF 28-7 convincingly. And then that Tulsa game got postponed. Now, that Tulsa game is going to be interesting because they're scheduled to play each other in the last week of the season. And both those teams are probably going to make it in the champion. They're both going to make it. So they're going to play back-to-back weeks. Cincinnati needs Tulsa to be ranked to help them by every stretch of the imagination. Tulsa has to be ranked, and they are right now. I think they're number 24 in the nation. As long as they're ranked and Cincinnati takes care of business, then if certain things fall their way, then, yeah, they could be the first non-Power 5 school to make the playoffs. But talk about a team that's not getting any love, and I want to know your position, is BYU, man. BYU, undefeated, out of the top 10. Go ahead. What's your opinions on that one?
Run me their schedule. Run me their wins, because
okay. I had it earlier because I was studying them.
Yeah, I was looking
at yeah, okay. So Navy, that was the first game of the season. They beat them 55-3 convincingly. Army game got postponed. They beat a good the years past Troy. They beat Troy 48-7.
That game against Army, I knew that was going to be a crazy year, though.
They beat Louisiana Tech 45-14, UTSA 27-20. UTSA is no scrub. UTSA has a running back who should be considered for a Heisman Trophy candidate as well. They beat Houston 43-26. Houston, you don't know what you're going to get from week in and week out. Texas State is rebuilding processes. I got a new head coach in San Marcos. So then they beat Western Kentucky 41-10. They beat Boise State 51-17. I think that was the most convincing win they had. And then they beat UNA 66-14. And then now they picked up another game, San Diego State. They play them on December 12th.
Now, if they run through San Diego State the way they've been running through everybody else, there's no reason not. But who falls out
of the top 10?
Who's your first one?
Oh, that's easy. Iowa State. Iowa State shouldn't be ranked in the top 10. Iowa State shouldn't be ranked. The only reason they're ranked above Oklahoma is because they beat them. But this is a different Oklahoma team. This is a different Oklahoma team ever since that Texas game. Rattler, after he got benched, is looking like a great quarterback, and he's playing phenomenally well. And their defense is stepping up well, too.
Well, who's Iowa State's lost to?
It was a first week of the season, a no-name team.
Yeah, it was a fluke.
Louisiana Cajuns.
So, I mean,
they lost to Oklahoma State too.
But they beat Oklahoma, and look what Oklahoma is right now. I mean,
but if you watch that game against Texas, Texas beat themselves. Texas should have won that game.
Hey,
Iowa State shouldn't be ranked in the top 10.
You said Iowa State shouldn't?
No, they shouldn't be ranked in the top 10.
Their next opponent?
I don't know. I want to say Kansas.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if they don't have.
Oh, West Virginia. But they still got to play Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game too.
Yeah. So I mean, BYU can still end up in front of them.
The thing that's hurting BYU is being in a non-conference. They should have went to a conference schedule like Notre Dame did. If they were in a conference schedule, they wouldn't have these issues playing these cupcakes and everything like that.
Are they completely ready?
Who?
BYU.
Are they ready? BYU, I don't know why they're not joining. They should have joined the Big 12 this year.
Big 12 would suit them.
I mean, they're right there in that geographic, just for 1 year. But
I mean, they can rock with them. I mean, I don't know. I just really think Ohio State's going to slip. I don't see them in the top 10. That's my – if they don't make 6, they're not in the top 10. BYU can slip right in there. Iowa State, you're right. They're going to lose. I don't know if like, so that's another one out. Because in a normal year, the rankings right, so I see faults. In a normal year, yeah, I see some faults because I don't think Notre Dame would be at number 2 in a normal year because I don't think they would have beat Clemson.
That's true. That's true.
I don't think. I honestly don't think Florida should have lost to Texas A&M.
But Florida does that every year, though. Florida always loses a game that they should win. They always do that. For some odd reason, they always do that.
Yeah. And just me focusing on this top 6, like honestly, I don't see that. And then this Ohio State thing, I honestly, that division has been weird. Michigan State, those two. I mean, I don't know how Ohio State really pans out on a regular year this year.
Man, in a regular year, I think that this will be your top 6. Give BYU and Cincy love. Tired of the now. Saying that, every time we try to give someone love and they play these games in the bowl games, besides if you University of Central Florida, who claims to be a national champion, 2 or 3 years ago, when they went undefeated and they beat a Georgia team or an Auburn team. I'm sorry, an Auburn team that was hung over because they thought they should have been in the playoffs because they lost a big game. They lost to the SEC championship game. These bowl games don't mean nothing. Yes, it's a good way to show off the lower guys, but these guys, like if you're Georgia and you're playing BYU, you're not getting up for that game. There's nothing in it for these guys. There really isn't. So, I mean, 1 week I can see it like get up for like an upset thing, but week after week, like the SEC schedule, I don't think USF or Cincinnati could go through a gauntlet schedule. Even in the Big 12, I don't think they can get through that. Maybe the Big 12 this year because they play no defense. But, huh?
I said, what about East Coast of Carolina?
Yeah, dude, I think they're just in the top 25 because of COVID. They're a good team. They are a good team.
Have you watched them?
But I've watched a couple, but I don't think they can beat an Iowa team. I don't think they can beat a Wisconsin team. They can beat them on any given night. I'll give you that.
Really good defenses, and
they do.
But they have a really good offense. Like I like that team.
So they put them against Alabama. You still having a close game. You have an Alabama winning in the second quarter. I mean, Ohio State would demolish them. I mean, that's what I'm trying to get at.
But I mean, you picked the top 4. I mean, do they beat?
Well, wouldn't that be their schedule though? Wouldn't that be in their schedule?
I think they would beat Iowa State. I think they would beat.
Oh yeah, Ohio State though.
I think they would hang with Iowa. I think they would hang with
week after week though. You're not getting top 5 recruits like you are in these other schools. You're getting like Division 3.
Their second year?
Huh?
What is this? Their second year or something like that? Third year?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, they're a great team, but I don't think. I think COVID. I think it's different circumstances. I think if everyone played the same amount of games, you wouldn't see them in the top 25. I really don't. Just because they're early in the. I think this is their 4th year. To be honest with you. But,
they're fairly new.
They are new, but looking at this.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, looking at this top 25. Besides the top 10, who you think got snubbed in this? If you can look at it.
I mean, besides the top 10, okay. Here, give me a second. Let me pull.
Okay. I tell you mine. Oregon shouldn't be in the top 25. They've shown week after week that they are not a good team this year. They should have lost three games. They lost to a horrible Oregon State team, even though that is a rivalry game. First time Oregon State's beat them in God knows how long. They barely beat all these other opponents, and the Pac-12 is down like crazy this year. So if you were me, they're just giving Oregon love because of their name. And if you ask me, Oregon should not be in that top 25.
I mean, that's a very good one. I mean, that got snubbed. I mean,
Nathan's asking, how do you feel about Northwestern?
I was just looking at them. I mean, at 16th, I think they're kind of at the right spot. I mean,
what killed them was their game against the debacle against Michigan State. They had every right. They had it right. If they would have gone on to the Big Ten championship game undefeated, who knows? They could have easily gotten in the top 4.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about a ranked Michigan State, then they're there. But Michigan State's been getting their butt kicked. Honestly, man, I'm looking at Coastal Carolina. I'm looking at Marshall. I honestly don't think. I mean, Southern Cal, yeah, they beat a couple of. It's just a weird year. This COVID is really weird. I don't think Georgia should be up there at 11 at 6-2.
Brendan Red says, great Nate, they heard the Broncos of the NCAA. I want to go that far.
No, the Broncos, I wouldn't go put them in there.
Chase Anderson, they will probably play Ohio State in the Big. That is correct. They are not actually. If Ohio State doesn't play another game, and whatever the case may be, they can't play in the Big Ten championship game. There's a certain number you have to meet, and right now if they lose, but don't play out on one more game, then you won't see them in. And there's talk. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I don't know if it's true or not, but is talk that game against Michigan. Michigan's gonna not play that game, that is a bull. Move.
Hey, come on. Listen, this is a rivalry. We don't like you. You don't like us. You go.
Yeah, but you know how much smack you would be. No, you can't do it. It's a competitive. That's not the nature of the game, man. No, that's different. No, it's different. It's different if they like players from Michigan got COVID and they can't fill a team. I can totally understand that. But just not playing because of your rivalry, wouldn't you want to just go out there and beat them and take them out of the playoff picture to begin with and win it that way instead of being a cowardly way?
Out the playoff picture. No, but I honestly, I get you. I'm just playing right now.
I know you are,
but it is a whack way. It's a whack way to go out. But I mean, they know they're gonna get stomped.
Yeah. One thing I want to point out too, I was going to get to this, but I totally slipped my mind. The committee's showing Notre Dame love, and here's what I'm saying about that: they want Notre Dame in that big for every reason. I don't know why. They beat North Carolina pretty handily. North Carolina moved up 2 spots just to help Notre Dame's rankings. I guarantee you that's what happened. North Carolina should not have moved up 2 spots after that. Yes, they played a pretty good game, but you still lost by double digits. They should have went down 2, and I think USC should have stayed pat at 18. But who am I? I'm not the committee. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what the criteria is anymore. I don't know what the criteria is any other year. They just get the teams that they want in, and that's the way they rank them.
I always thought Notre Dame got more love than they should have. I mean, it's ridiculous. One thing I wanted to talk about was the Buffalo Bulls, Mr. Patterson, their running back. Did you see 409 yards rushing and 8 touchdowns?
I don't care if you're playing Pee Wee. I don't care if you're playing nobody. I don't care if you're playing your girlfriend's parents. I don't care who you're playing. That's a lot of yards.
Man, I think my son and my nephew would hold me off for 409 yards. I don't think I could do that. Like 4 and 8 touchdowns. Like
That's
8,
like high school stat. That's high school stat level.
man. He was like, you didn't send nobody else out. Like, we should have sent everybody out in the field. We should have had like 13.
Yeah.
They should have extra flags for just trying to cheat at that point. I'd have been trying to cheat.
I would have had the quarterback beat me throwing. I would just run blitz all 11 guys. I don't know, and run blitz the entire after 200 yards. I don't care.
At touchdown number 4, you know, Brandon, he could have attended. At Brandon, he could have had as many as he wanted to. If he had
he could have had 20 or that
4
guy was
2 yards rushing. Come on. Mr. Man. You think that one game gets him drafted?
It caught a lot of attention. Will Polston says 700 plus yards, 11 TDs, and 2-game stretch for Patters. Unreal. Those numbers will get you looked at. I think now running backs are nothing in the past in the NFL right now. Zeke Elliott's showing you that right now. Gurley, so you have 3 or 4 good years with these running backs, and then they're liver. So yeah, I'll give them some looks. AKA if you're like the Dallas Cowboys and just want to pay a running back rookie salary and then get rid of them, then yeah. But that's another topic for another day. But I can totally see him going in the 3rd or 4th round. Definitely. He's getting some eyeballs for sure. I think he probably went from a 6th round pick probably to a 3rd or 4th round easily. If he keeps it up, he might even jump to a 2nd round. Who knows?
Hey, we know he knows how to find the end zone. He can at least be a red zone back. I mean, goodness, 8 touchdowns. But basketball just started, so they released the top 25. They got Gonzaga, Baylor, Iowa, Wisconsin for the top 4, and then Illinois, Duke, Kansas, Michigan State, the top 8. Now, I was looking at this so far. Duke just lost again tonight. 3 teams have yet to play. So I mean, it's very early. You know, I was watching the North Carolina game because North Carolina they're very young this year, and they started out down 0-13. a field goal. 7 points against a UNLV team that's not that bad. So I mean, once they get going, they're gonna be really young, man. North Carolina is really young. So they're gonna be good.
Well, isn't that with every top contender in the NCAA basketball with that stupid one and done rule, which is the stupidest rule ever in the freaking collegiate level? They just go for 1 year and then they leave, and they have to keep rebuilding. Calipari did at Kentucky for 1 good year. He's only won 1 championship with this system, and then now you've seen Mike Krzyzewski implement it, and you're seeing these other. That's why you're seeing so much upsets now, is because every team is so young now. It's just this one and done rule. I think they need to get rid of it. Do you think Brandon Hurd did not having the tournament last season hurt basketball this year? Heck, yes, it did. I don't care what they did. I know it was early in this. I'll let you read that for whatever it is. I don't know. But yeah.
Illinois, I got you.
But yeah, I think they should have done what the NBA did. I think they should took time off because no one knew what COVID was. No one knew how to handle it. No one knew what it was or how to deal with it. But not having that this year, these players, you know who they are in the tournament time. You know who the top players are. You know who to watch out for. You fall in love with these players, and that's what carries your team. And this year, you just don't know what's going on. You have teams not even starting the season yet. You have teams don't even know they're even going to play. I think the University of Colorado already suspended all their basketball athletic until further notice. So just a lot. I'm just afraid that college basketball is not going to finish out the year like it did. Now, I will give you props. I will give the NCAA props on this. They're going to have a tournament this year, but all teams are going to be in the bubble in Indianapolis. That's kudos to them. That's exactly what they should do.
Now, I will say this on my take on that. I 100% think that it affected college basketball. College basketball, we got a bunch of kids. Most of these kids are in their shell. And they're looking for that breakout game, those breakout games, some significant play, something of that nature that just gives them that jolt, that breaks them out of that shell. A lot of times, a lot of these kids, I mean, a la Steph Curry.
Yep. That's what I was going with.
You know what I mean? If without the tournament, I don't know if Steph Curry today. Yeah, he still had all those skills. Yeah, he still had everything that he would have had. He still had the pedigree. But let's be honest. Without that tournament, does Steph Curry still do the same thing he does? Does Steph Curry – look at Seth. Look at Seth. He came out. He got drafted. He went through. He's playing the NBA. He wouldn't have had the same as Steph because that Davidson team and what they did what that man did in Davidson with that team in that tournament was amazing. So when I look at college basketball, unlike college football, when I look at college basketball, the shells are different. You know, there's 5 players on your team on the floor. The spotlight is on you a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Like your games, it's centered in a little bit more. There's not 200,000 people screaming and yelling. They can hear, they can different. So I think a lot of players they capitalize on that lock-in tournament style, AAU style kind of basketball event that we know as March Madness. So I really do think it really hurt them. I think that we see it in look at the draft. Look at the draft. Look at Nico falling. Look at look at just the players that went out. I think if we went to the tournament, I think Nico stays another year. I think that U of A squad might have stayed together.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly see a lot of different players that either would have went up a little bit higher or would have stayed in college another year. But the uncertainty is what I think sent them off. This year, I honestly think we're going to see the craziest tournament ever. Because players want to play.
Yep. Okay, so since college basketball just started, I'm going to give you – since it just started.
Okay.
Who do you have winning the national championship?
Quote. Well,
that's right, Will. March Madness makes teams like Davidson, Florida Gulf Coast University. Oh, that Florida Gulf Coast University. Even though they got out, that Sweet 16. Oh, that was a fun team to watch. We wouldn't even known about it.
Man, that was a good team too. That was a good team too. I don't know, man. I don't know. I've been watching a few games. I've seen a few. I like that boy from Iowa, the shooting guard from Iowa. He's really nice. They got a really nice team there too. I'm gonna tell you, I like teams. Teams are great, but tournament play the last few years have been about players, and
it is.
Not necessarily, man. We go back
since 2000 or about 2005. It's been about guard play, one player here or there.
But you say that, but I mean, look at Calipari won how many?
One. That's because he only had one good team.
Guards ever.
That undefeated team for Calipari, they shouldn't have been undefeated. They should have lost a couple games. That was an overrated team. They got lucky a lot of times, but it was a good team. But they got under. But I mean, I'm going to say Gonzaga. The only reason I'm going to say Gonzaga is they got a couple of returning starters. They got some seniors. They got some juniors, and they don't have this one and done thing like everyone else does this year. I'm just going to pick Gonzaga. I was hoping Duke, but Duke looked horrible tonight against Michigan State. First time Tom Izzo has ever beat Mike Krzyzewski in the regular season. I think he's now 9-1-9 against Mike Krzyzewski in the regular season. So Duke's going to be down this year. Duke always does this. They win a championship, and then like 5 years, you're hopeful that they win a champion. They don't win another thing in a couple of years. But I'm just going Gonzaga just because they're going to have some veteran players on that team. But it's weird.
Point shooting. I'm going to go Baylor. I'm going to go, especially if they keep going like this. But it's going to be weird, man. I'm telling you, like, look, I've already seen some Richmond beat Kentucky that was ranked number 10.
Kentucky, for the last couple of years, Kentucky's lost to these no-name teams.
A lot.
A couple, not recently, but lately they have been.
Yeah. Villanova lost to Virginia Tech. They were ranked number 3. Virginia lost to San Francisco. Houston defeated Texas Tech. I mean, and this is what, week 2? We're in week 2?
Those teams have only played 3 games, yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be a weird year. Watch out for my Arizona State Sun Devils.
Right number 25 right now.
I'm telling you, we got a spot.
I will say this. Watch out for Texas, too. Watch a little bit of them. Texas has a lot of returning starters as well. Not a lot of returning, but they have a great starting group coming back. So watch out. This is it for Shaka. This is it. He has to prove something this year. He does. Same thing with Tom Herman as a head coach at Texas. Tom Herman's done. I think Urban Meyer is going to be the next head coach for the UT Longhorn football team. But that's another subject for another day. We might get into that next week. But has to be it for Shaka Smart. I love Shaka Smart. I loved him at VCU. I love the way he plays, the way he coaches, the aggressive nature that he has. But this just doesn't fit the Texas. For some reason, doesn't fit Texas at all. Gonzaga on Coach Cam's list of what can go wrong will go wrong.
Hey,
that is so true.
No, good. Will, that's a good thing to bring up because that's what I'm saying. Like Gonzaga, they always is right there, the top 3, top 4. I don't ever see them come out, even in the man. Yeah, Gonzaga ain't doing it. I'm telling you, it's gonna be a weird year. I'm telling you, somebody like Baylor's gonna win it. Somebody like Baylor,
Houston. Watch out for Houston. But but we got a whole year to get into college basketball. Well, we'll get more dissected probably in the next couple of weeks. But before, I mean, it's been a great first show. But before we get Heisman race coming up, who do you think is going to win the Heisman?
You guys can say what you want about me, but if the Florida boy does what he does and he comes out and somehow makes the playoffs, I'm going him.
Kyle Trask.
I really like the dude. Like he is a baller, and I think he should be a little bit higher than what he is right now. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna pick. I mean, that's what I'm hoping as far as what I've been watching.
That's watch out for the Golden Gopher. I'm going. Man, I was on Justin Fields' bandwagon forever, but he's not going to get enough games in. He had a horrible game against Indiana. I think he had 3 turnovers in that game, 2 bad picks. I think you're right. I think the winner of that SEC championship game is going to be the winner of the Heisman trophy. I hope it's Trask. I love Trask. He's having a baller kind of a season, but Mac Jones is showing up. But if you look at the weapons both the team has, Florida has a little less talent. They still have a lot of talent. They little less talent than what Alabama has. Alabama, they can beat you with Najee Harris. We're running the ball. They can have you Waddle. Waddle's not even the leading receiver, and he was one of the best receivers last year on the team. That's just how deep they are a receiver this year. But Trask, they have that great tight end. I forgot his name. I'm sorry. I think it's Pitts. Something like that. He's going to be a first round NFL player. All you got to do is throw it up and catch the ball. But they have a great running back in Florida. But man, he's having a heck of a year. I think he should be in consideration of the Heisman, but
we'll see.
I think it's just a 2-man race. I hope Justin Fields gets a couple more games in so he can show what he has. But nonetheless, what killed I had Trevor Lawrence in there too. But what killed Trevor Lawrence is with getting COVID and not playing a couple weeks as well. And he's also not having that stellar year. But I think it's down to Trask and Mac Jones. I think Trask should take it, but I think Mac Jones give it to Trask. He'll be bumming the league. It's career. That's true.
I don't know, man. We'll see. Hey, okay, guys. Look, one thing I want to do, man. There's a couple things I want to do. It's our first episode. So we're gonna start a tradition every week. We want you guys to interact. So rep your school. We're gonna do that once a week. So send us, send it to Trey, send it to me, or DM us where you're from. Send us a picture of what school you rep, and every week we'll feature a new one on here. And also, if you got any questions or any topics you guys want us here discussed or anything, send us a DM. Drop us a line, and we'll definitely bring it up and go through it for you guys.
That's a fun thing about this network. All you do is comment. We're always on our phones, always on social media. Just contact us no matter what, and we'll definitely hit you up. Let us know who your favorite team is. We'll love to enter. And don't forget to comment, like, and share to get that T-shirt, baby. It's an awesome T-shirt. I can't just ask that Brendan Herrera, who I think, gosh, he got a T-shirt from doing it, and now look at him. He's a stud. So. Yeah, so just like, comment, and share and get that beautiful, awesome shirt, man. All Sports, All Play Network T-shirt. But yeah, it was a great first show. I can't wait to rock and roll. It's going to start getting interesting in the college football world. You got college end of the season coming up this week, and then you got the playoff system. The conference championship, then you have playoffs and the Heisman Trophy and all that fun stuff. And then college basketball is going to start getting their conference play within the next month. Can you believe that already? But yeah, if you like college basketball, there's a great game going to go on tomorrow night, I do think. Texas versus North Carolina in Maui. So yeah, just whatever sport you want to talk about, bring it in here. We'll love to talk about it. We love talking sports. We'll study it, even if it's rugby. If you like rugby, we'll talk about it.
Yes.
I don't know how good we'll be, but we'll talk rugby. We even talk college marching band. How about that? For Nate the Great.
There's some nice ones out there. As soon as this COVID's over, we'll start getting back to hearing some.
But yeah, I think that's going to do it for our show today. Hope everyone enjoyed it. Remember, always like, comment, and share. Comment us. Jay, you have anything else you want to say?
Nope. Hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. And we will see you next week. We really appreciate it again, joining in on our first one. There's many more to come, and we hope you take the ride with us, guys.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, never the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays. Like working your faces. Grace up the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.